Well, good morning and welcome back to CityLine. I have three amazing individuals who are here to talk about the legal advocate services available at the YWCA. So please join me in welcoming, talk about another angel that we have within our midst here, Miriam Barnett. Hello, my love.
Hello, Amanda. Thank you so much.
It's good to see you. You are the CEO of the YWCA, and I walked by your house the other day and I stopped and looked at your raised beds and said, I'll see you in a year when you got tomatoes back.
Yes,
Those
you will.
Raised
Absolutely.
beds of yours are off the hook. Good to have you here. You brought with you Miss Hannah Mcleod. Hannah Mcleod, that name is fabulous. You are the Director of Legal Services for the YWCA. Welcome, Miss Hannah.
Thank you.
And this beauty, rounding out the end of the couch here, TaTeasha Davis, you are the Legal Services Attorney for the YWCA. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have all three of you in the house because it's never not a busy time when we talk about this topic. And we have not talked about this topic. This is the first time we've talked about this on CityLine, which amazes me. For all the years I've had you on here, I'm like, so it's high time.
Yeah,
that we talk about this. So first off, let's talk about what the YWCA does if someone's not familiar with it.
Yeah, so we've been around in Tacoma since actually 1906.
Yeah.
And we've always focused on safety. In 1976, we became the first domestic violence shelter in the state of Washington. And from that point till today, we have just added more services to provide wraparound comprehensive support for domestic violence victims and their families. And that includes our 90-day emergency stay shelter. It includes therapeutic programming for children and youth. It includes support groups, housing, and what we're here to talk about today, our amazing legal services program.
Wow, that's a huge variety of wraparound services. How do you raise the needed funds for this?
Well, about half of our funds come from government sources, and about the other half come from private sources. So we do two really big fundraisers a year. We have our annual auction and gala, January 19th. And then you're familiar with that. Maybe I'll be back to talk about that.
You will
And then we have our annual luncheon. That's the fourth Wednesday in April. And those two events raise really needed funds for us that are unrestricted, that can go to any of the program that is needing the funds. And then in addition, we write grants and just depend on our very generous community.
You and your team do not rest. I know that. I see it all the time, social media. I see it in the community. There's never a time that you're not putting that message out there that we all can do more. I want to ask this question, and just like Helen taught me to ask the question of what do you need, you and your team have taught me to ask the question, if you know someone who is a victim or you think that they are a victim of domestic violence, what do we do?
So I love that question, and I very much appreciate it because it's a really horrible and very tough situation to be in if you have a family member or friend who you think is being abused. And so we tend, from a good place, we tend to ask and try to get them to leave. And that is actually not the right approach because that actually blames the victim and puts more pressure on them. So really just saying to them that you believe them, that you love them, that you're here for them, and then share resources like the YWCA where they can come and get help. And anyone can call our 24/7 crisis line and just ask our trained professional staff questions and get help with safety planning over the phone. So we encourage not just victims, but family members and friends to call that number as well, just to get advice on how you can be supportive. And we always appreciate people reaching out.
Oh, and that is new information for me as well, in the sense of, I would have said, get them out of there. But now I have a new piece of information to put in my toolkit. So Hannah, when we talk about doing work in legal services, what does the legal program do?
Well, what we do is we help survivors of domestic violence with court cases that they're dealing with in Pierce County. So that could be family law cases or it could be protection order cases. And we have a staff of 6 legal advocates, and they help folks represent themselves. So they teach people how to act as their own attorneys. And then we're also lucky enough to have one paralegal and one attorney, who's TaTeasha, who's here with us today.
Yes.
And TaTeasha is able to represent our clients for free.
Oh, that's fabulous. So, what kinds of cases do you help with? Because I know that when we talk about being a legal advocate, there are lots of things that you can do. So give us an example.
Well, I help with divorces, obviously, helping victims of domestic violence file, and I represent them in domestic violence protection order proceedings. Sometimes I have to represent them in defending themselves against domestic violence protection orders, modifications for child support or parenting plan that's not working anymore. So kind of a wide range of cases, but all under the umbrella of family law or domestic violence services, yeah.
So this may seem like just a real benign question, but I think it's really worth asking, and that is, why is it important for domestic violence survivors, and survivors is the key there, to have access to a free family law attorney?
Well, I'll take your question and I'll see you.
There we go. Raise your 10. Yeah.
I'll widen it to any litigant.
There we go.
That would be facing litigation. Litigation in and of itself is very cost prohibitive. And when you think about a lot of divorce cases that would last a year or sometimes even more, that's very expensive for the average person. When you think about the laws, interpreting them, reading statutes and court procedure, a lot of our clients tell me that it's like reading another language.
Absolutely.
And so it's hard to navigate on your own, especially if you don't have any prior experience dealing with courts, going before a commissioner or a judge. And so having someone with you to stand for you, beside you, to advocate for you is really invaluable. And to make negotiations, proposals, when you can stand in a place of power and empowerment instead of being fearful that your money's going to run out because you've got to, make rent or something next month. That is also invaluable, and I hear that from our clients.
Oh, I love that. So, Hannah, what does a legal advocate do as opposed to a legal attorney?
Sure. So a legal advocate, their job is a little bit more like a behind-the-scenes coach, and they walk side by side with our clients through this process. So unlike TaTeasha, they can't fill out paperwork for our clients or speak for them in court. Their job is to help our clients fill out paperwork, help them understand their rights and their options, go with them to court, just to provide emotional support for them and show them around the courthouse. Basically teaching them how to use the courts for their own benefit, how they can stand up for themselves in court.
Outstanding. So when you look at a client's case, there must be a lot of things that you have to take into account and consider before you say yes. What are a few of those things that cross your mind?
I think first and foremost, I think about my current workload. I have a standard I'd like to keep with my work product. And so if I am at my max, I may not be able to take the case at that time. It doesn't mean in the future I won't be able to help that client. So I think about that. I think about balancing the number of complex cases I have versus the number of very straightforward, not simple, but I would just use the straightforward cases.
Yes.
So you want to keep a good balance of those because in my consultations and assessing clients, I look at, whether they, are going to be anxious or intimidated by standing up against their abuser. Some clients are very fearful, but others are very empowered when they come to talk to me. I think about if there are any underlying mental health issues, drug and alcohol issues, if children are involved, the ages of the children. And so all of that kind of goes toward my analysis for, does this person need me right now? And then can I do it? Can I help them and maintain the level of a work product that I want to consistently put out?
All of those are heartfelt standards when you're dealing with the kind of clients that you're dealing with.
Definitely.
No wonder you're so good at what you do. So how do we get it? What's the process of getting an appointment with you?
Well, after the client does an intake, they are assigned a legal advocate. And during the process of working with the legal advocate, they may say, I'd like to speak to TaTeasha. I need a consult. I want to run something by her, or I'm seeking representation. Mm-hmm. At that point, the legal advocate would contact me, give me kind of a brief synopsis of what the client's issues are, and if there are any emergent issues, for instance, if there's a hearing coming up within a week, and then I would schedule the appointment.
Outstanding. So it's all kind of thought out for us. So we've been showing the 253-365-6352 number, Hannah. Mm-hmm. And that's the number you call to access the legal department at the YWCA. So what happens when someone calls that number? Walk us through what they can expect.
So what you can expect is probably to leave a voicemail, because it is ringing quite a bit. Yep. You might get lucky and catch an advocate, but you're probably going to leave a voicemail. And then just, we ask that people leave us a safe phone number. You don't even really have to tell us exactly what the issue is, and we'll call you back just as soon as we can. Usually it's that same day. It could be the next day. Fall is a very busy time for our program. And then the advocate will call the person back and find out what we can help with. What's the situation? What kind of help do you need?
How wonderful. Okay. Last question here. Who do we need to thank? Because in a program like this that's so far-reaching, it has so many working hands on it for those who need it the most. There's a lot of thank yous to go around, Hannah. So what are they?
Well, first I'd like to thank Miriam for her leadership.
Yes!
She's always our steadfast supporter.
Do we love this woman or what?
Absolutely. And also TaTeasha, because she works so hard for our clients, and it's a very specialized type of work in law that she does. And then the rest of our staff, our paralegal and our legal advocates, work really hard every day to help people change their lives.
I want to thank the three of you for taking time out of your very, very busy day that doesn't stop. This is a ministry. This is not a 9-to-5 clock in and clock out. I mentioned to you, this is a 3 o'clock in the morning, did I do the right thing kind of job. So thank you for putting yourselves out there so others can be safe. The three of you are pretty much the full trinity in my book, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda.
My pleasure. When we come back, we've gone from legal advocacy at the YWCA to the LeMay Museum with Scott. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.